Yeah, we got your boy Quan John, Motivation Motives, and my beautiful, illustrious, esteemed co-host Portia Mystique. Portia, say what up.
Hey, hey.
Right. So you know what I mean. Today we gonna, basically talk about the election. Today is a very, very important day in the country's history and our future. I was told by my father that this is the biggest turnout within the last 100 years of voting, man.
Are you
You know what I
serious?
mean? You feel about about that portion?
That's crazy. Though it makes sense. Given everything that's happened this year, it makes sense. Especially, okay, if you look at like our history, like American history, in a time where we weren't allowed to vote, and then immediately after we were allowed to vote, like even after we were allowed to vote, they still were rigging the elections, trying to get black people not to vote by scaring them away at polls. So, you know what I mean? Now that everybody has the confidence and the courage to go out and vote, and
Right,
vote shaming isn't as big as it used to be,
right.
of course it's going to have a bigger turnout. Then you look at everything that happened this year, and tensions are high, and politics is a mess.
It's crazy. It's wild because I can remember being in school and they told us, yeah, voting women were able to vote in 1920, but they left out white women were able to vote in 1920.
Yes, black women were not.
You know what I'm saying? They leave that out. I don't know why. And I was being taught by black teachers, but they had to teach this curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't teach the curriculum. They're shunned by, I guess, the Board of Education or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so this podcast, we're not giving any false information. You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
speak we speaking from a black point of view, and it's very important that we vote. Is important that we exercise our power and privilege to vote. Now, I'm not telling you who to vote for. You can vote for, but I will tell you this: vote for the person that has your interests. A fun fact that the Democrat and the Republican Party were one party.
Mm.
Okay, they were one party. They both were they were racist. They were a racist party, but the how they split, the Republican Party just were they were the overt racists.
Mm.
Okay, and the Democratic Party were the covert racists. So they split. So basically, the Democratic Party was just a little bit less racist. Okay, so thus we have the Democratic and Republican Party. There's a guy by the name of John Brown, and I want you guys to research John Brown. Now, John Brown, he was a true abolitionist. You know what I'm saying? He was a true white ally. You know what I'm saying? You want to know something? Have you ever heard about John Brown in school?
No.
Of course not. All right. Of course, you haven't heard about John Brown, because John Brown, he freed a lot of slaves. It cost him his life. It cost his son his life and his wife his life. Their life.
Common knowledge. We're gonna have to look this up because this is blowing my mind right now.
Now, he was a true abolitionist, because I actually went to vote today.
Hmm.
So I went to vote this morning, and I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I'm not happy to say that we got to move out of our neighborhoods to be safe. You understand?
Right.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
We got to move away from our people to feel. That's the operative word, Portia. To feel like we're safe, man.
Mm-hmm.
We got to move to the suburbs to feel like we're safe, man. You want to know why? Because this is where all the resources is. Where I am. This is where the good schools are.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the fresh food is. This is where the clean parks are.
Right.
You understand? We don't have that in our neighborhoods. Thus, we move out over here. You know what I mean? And we help them increase their property value
Right.
by moving out here. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, when I went to go vote right now, it was empty.
What?
Empty. But when you see on TV, you see all them black people online, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know why it's empty over here? Because all of these people over here are Republicans. They been voted. Empty over here. It was empty. I walked in and walked out in less than 7-8 minutes.
Wait, why would them being Republicans mean they voted early?
They want to make sure Trump get in office.
Voting early is not going. Oh well, okay.
I'm just saying, they took care of their business early. Why else would it be, why else would it be no lines?
Hmm.
It's not because they're not voting.
It's
They
because they
vote.
voted early.
They voted early. They took care of business. They want to make sure their guy gets in office, and that's okay. And I want people to understand this. I'm not the type of person to tell you, hey, you're black, you should be voting for Biden. No, you vote for who has your best interest.
And what do you do if you feel like none of them has your best interest? None of them in any of their policies or anything they say, because a lot of people feel like that. It's
I
like
think
catch
I think
22. Damn
you
if I
should
do, damn if I don't. So what do
I
you do?
think I think you should withhold your vote.
Don't vote. Don't go vote.
Right. Because think about it, because at the end of the because if you do vote, you're only voting to save face. Okay?
Mm.
Yeah,
Or you're voting for the lesser of the two evils.
right. Why am I doing that? Like
Yeah.
let's say I'm going home shopping and you know I and my realtor brings me to this one house. It's $500,000. You know, it's out of my economic, you know, jurisdiction. And he brings me to the other house where, you know, I don't like the area.
Yeah.
What do? I go with neither.
Right.
And I find a realtor that can give me a lower interest rate and a good area. I don't just go with one of them because I need a house. No, I take my time. So therefore, if these people, because my thing is, I'm gonna tell you, I actually wasn't going to vote.
Mm.
Voting is actually, you know, the first time I voted was for Barack Obama. That was the first time I voted. I was in my mid-30s already. That was the first time I voted. I voted for Barack twice. You know what I mean? And back then, I was a little more ignorant than I am now. I'm not saying that I'm I'm not ignorant now, but I was less ignorant. I only voted for Barack because he was black. I know nothing.
Yes, you didn't know his policies or nothing.
Nothing, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that's a very bad thing. You know what I mean? So this time around, I wasn't gonna vote. You know, so then I was talking to my therapist, because I do have a therapist. I feel like everybody black definitely, if you have health care, you definitely need a therapist. You need someone to talk to. And some might say, well, I can go home and talk to my mama, or I can talk to my friend. But you know what? Your mama and your friend's gonna be biased.
That's true.
Okay? So everyone needs a mental therapist, someone to talk to about your feelings and your problems. That's gonna be
unbiased. Stigma is real. We'll say maybe we'll save that for another podcast, because the stigma of therapy is real, and it is one that I take part in, because I personally would not go to a therapist.
Right. And you know, I think it has a lot to do with you know, the era you was raised in, how old you are, things of that nature, and probably, you know, the sentiments of your predecessors. But we'll get to that. Maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So put that on the docket for the next podcast.
Right. I was talking to my therapist, and at that point, this was only 2-3 weeks ago. I said, I'm not voting, and I gave my reasons why. And you know, as I probably you know conveyed on the podcast, you know, me and my wife, we're going through a thing right now. My wife has been diagnosed with an illness, and you know, so my therapist told me, she was like, well, you know, this guy over here is trying to get rid of this bill, and this guy over here wants the bill. And if this guy over here gets rid of the bill, they can say your wife has a pre-existing, you know, illness, and your wife can actually drop from her insurance because of her situation. And when she threw that bug in my ear, I said, damn, she's right. I got to make sure this guy over here, who happens to be Biden, gets in office. I want him to get in office because I want this Affordable Health Care Act to stay in place. Right. So her insurance can stay in place. So my point to say that is, I had a specific situation that affected me.
Yes, right.
My reasoning for voting for this guy, not because he's a Democrat. I'm not voting. That could have been Trump. Let's say Trump was doing that. I'm voting for.
You'd have voted for him.
You vote for your interests, black people. Okay, stop voting because somebody told you the Democratic Party they love black people more. Stop doing that. One is just dumb. Okay, stop doing that. Go on who has your interest, black people, please.
Like for me, like, okay, I didn't vote because here in Nigeria, it's like you already know they find out who wins before they even finish counting the votes in the states. Now, by the time they get to our overseas votes, it has already been decided, and plus it's a long process, so I didn't even worry about it. But it's funny because a lot of things that I need to worry about are things that I didn't have to worry about before last election. So, you know, I have to factor in a lot of foreign policies, a lot of travel restrictions, travel bans. I have, you know, all that stuff, because who I am and who my husband is, we have to be able to move freely. So like now there's a travel ban on Nigeria. It hasn't been lifted. Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily apply to us because I'm a natural born citizen and my husband's Nigerian. So I don't think the ban applies to us, but I haven't done the research yet. But if it does, that really affects us. So I would need to get Trump out of office, even though I'm a business owner and I actually benefit from some of the policies that Trump put in place because I am like black, white, it don't matter. I'm a business owner. So I got a lot of tax breaks because of him. But
Right.
the travel ban is more important than my business.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
that needs to change. That needs to be fixed.
Right.
So,
Now,
I mean, you still have your. It's still really difficult for me to vote for either of them, even though I didn't vote. If I had the ability to do it or like the time, because
right.
vote overseas, like out of the country, is a really long process.
Right.
But if I had the time to do it, it was still a catch-22 for me because I necessarily wouldn't want to vote for Biden either. Like while I like the fact that he had Kamala Harris on his ticket, only
Right.
because I feel like she knows what she's doing locally. I'm not sure Biden has the backbone to deal with foreign policies, and foreign policies matter to me given my marriage. So like, catch-22. Damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Right. And you brought up an interesting point when you said about as far as the tax breaks you got from being a business owner, with Trump, he actually encourages and pushes, because now that brings me to Bernie Sanders. Now Bernie Sanders is a socialist, no doubt. Bernie is we in the black community we deem Bernie to be a very cool dude.
Yeah.
But if we educate ourselves and understand what Bernie stands for the poor.
Yes.
Okay.
You out here getting paid.
Okay. So if you are a business owner of any sort, you do not want Bernie Sanders in office. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't do your homework and your research.
Right.
He's the poor, and you know what? Come on, poor people need somebody to be on their side. I'm not saying
that begs the question. Like, okay, if you know that somebody like Bernie Sanders is for the poor, but you're actually doing well off, and if he gets in office, it changes your life. Do you take that L for the people that need it?
It's a very good question. I you know what? I would say it depends. It depends. It depends on what you deem to be well off.
That's true.
Because like I said,
how much of a drastic change will occur because
I mean, you got people that are multimillionaires. They don't want to lose $1 million. They got 100 million. They don't want to lose $1 million. They're still well off, right? Yeah. We think, but in their minds, it messes an equation up in their minds. But I mean, so it depends on the person what you deem to be well off. Because I mean, I know people straight up and down for real that have come from other countries to New York. You know what I mean? That don't make nearly as much as I personally make.
Right.
You know what? They got far more than I have. Right. So who's well off and who's not?
Right.
It depends on one how you take your money, how you invest your money. Because
not even that, like, because for a lot of people, like I said, it's a question of morals.
Right.
Like, whether you're well off or not, if you feel like this guy is actually better for the country as a whole rather than your personal life, then all right.
But in my opinion, Portia, I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's about morality, but like we got in the book, Motivational Motives, I got a quote in here that say, "Morale is never in the eyes of the moralist." Okay, basically. Excuse me?
That's legit. That's true. That's right.
Because you know what? I can justify anything I do. Anything. Okay? But I think it's in the eyes of the community to say, am I moral or not? I can say, hey, you know what? I had to rob this bank to feed my kids. Right?
Yeah.
And I had to shoot the security guard to get in there. Security guard could be your uncle. Right?
Yeah.
So am I moral or not? Right.
That's something that, I mean, like my dad has always taught us, like the idea of right and wrong just depends on the society. Whether something is right or wrong, there actually, if you just look at life, if you look at nature, there is no such thing as right or wrong.
Paradox.
It's just, it is what it is.
Like I said in previous videos, Portia, I hope the podcasters have looked at when I was talking about what is a cheetah.
Yes, yeah.
The paradox in everything.
Right. Everything.
In your death and my death and our demise, we can look at any situation a different way. You
Right.
know what? Now check it out. Let's say I had a label for you. Let's say I say, hey, you know what, Portia? Damn, you're cheap, right? But the up, you can say, no, I'm just thrifty, right?
Okay, okay.
You
Wow,
dig
I
what I'm saying?
definitely messed that one up. I'm cheap, okay. I'm a
Cheap.
cheapskate.
No, you're cheap. Like you don't like to spend money.
Okay, a
And
cheapskate. You can't say a
you can
woman is
see it
cheap.
as,
That's not right.
right. You can see it as, no, I'm just frugal. So
Okay,
what does my opinion really mean? You being cheap? It means nothing.
right.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
thrifty. You feel like you're thrifty, so you got to do what's best for you. You know, I read this book years ago by the name of Mindfulness,
Hmm.
and I think this is a book that everyone should read. The theory of mindfulness basically teaches you how not to know, and that's probably the hardest thing we can do in life. You know why? Because everyone wants to think they know what they're talking about, and you want to know what you're doing.
Okay,
You want to know
right.
what to expect. You want to be certain, and you are not.
It's okay not to know.
And it should be okay not to know,
Hmm.
because in mindfulness it teaches you when you walk in situations unknowing, you actually see more of the opportunities.
Right.
Portia, if I walk in a situation that I swear to God I know what's going to happen, I'm going to make sure that happens in my mind. You
Right.
understand?
Yeah.
It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, I'm going to make sure that in this situation that I find what I think is going to happen. However, if I walk into the situation and say, you know what, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm walking in here blinded and I just hope for the best, you know what I mean, I'm going to see so many opportunities that I would never have seen if I never walked in that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we got to get into the habit of thinking we know, because we truly do not.
Hmm.
Honestly, we truly do
Yeah.
not. So my point of saying that is, I might say you're cheap, but you might say you're thrifty. So therefore, you can't even let a person's opinion on you or on society, or on the world, or who you should vote for matter.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. Mhm.
As Black people, we need to start understanding, you know what I mean? Yeah, we know what we've been through. We've been through a whole lot. We've been to hell and back, you know what I mean? And we're
Right.
going to take what we've learned to propel us to the future. You know what I'm saying? But we can't, like I said before, we just because, let's say mama always been making the same cake on Sundays, we don't got to make that same cake on Sunday. Mama, I don't like cake. Sometimes you got to change up the routine to have a a change reaction and a
Right.
change effect. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real. You know? So
Yeah.
basically do you respectfully. You know what
And
I'm saying?
do
So
what works for you. What works for you.
right.
Like what works
Like
for you ain't what works for everybody else. You gotta do what
right.
works for you.
And like I'm glad you said something interesting. You know, these labels, we get caught up in these labels, Portia.
What did I
Madam,
say?
we get caught up in these labels. Hold up. Let me take a simple situation. Very simple. Okay, I'm about 5'10", 6 feet, right?
Okay.
I think I'm an average sized guy, okay? Let's say I might be tall. To you, Portia, how tall are you?
5'4".
You're 4. So I'm tall compared to you, right?
Yes.
But compared to Shaquille O'Neal, I'm a little dude.
Right.
So am I tall or not?
Depends on your perspective.
Am I tall or not? I'm neither.
Right.
I'm neither. I'm short nor tall. I am. That's why I am.
Yes, it
But
is what it is. It's just facts.
the
Like,
label. It's a label. Or am I fat or am I skinny? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or am I diesel or am I not? We get caught. And once we get caught up in these labels, now we are Pinocchio. We're puppets. Now the puppet master, whomever society is, they are controlling us. Now I feel like I have to get to that label. I have to live up to that label that you have bestowed upon me. Now I don't control my life anymore. Okay?
right. Like, people say it all the time, but they don't really live it. But you
What?
always hear people say, take me for who I am, accept me for I am. Either you like me or you don't. People say that all the time, but they don't
They
really
don't accept themselves for who they are.
like. I mean, I'm maybe biased here, but I feel like the only person that I've met in my life that really believes that is my husband. He's like, you know what? I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. Accept me or don't. Love me or hate me.
Right.
So, and like it's like to be married to him has really opened my eyes to that idea. Like, you know, you don't have to fit in somebody else's shoes. You don't have to fit in somebody else's box.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. So, like, okay, when you're going to the polls, just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat.
Not at all.
You don't see white people putting themselves in that box. White people don't say, "Oh, I'm white, so I have to vote Republican." We know that's not even a thing.
Right.
We have white Democrats and Republicans, even Hispanics or any race, it doesn't matter. But for blacks, we always feel like anytime we hear of a brother or sister saying that they voted Republican, we're like, "What? How could you do such a thing?" Like, we feel betrayed.
Right.
But no, it's that's that box that we put ourselves in. You don't have to fit in that box. And when you aren't trying to fit yourself in somebody else's mold, the freedom you feel is it's really liberating. It feels so liberating.
It is.
And then like I said, like the only reason I've been able to feel that is because of my husband. Like, he's shown me that. So now that he and I are moving through life, like, listen, we gonna do what we want to do.
That's right.
We're going
Absolutely.
to be who
God bless y'all, man.
and that's what we do.
You know, now, and that you like I said, you know what, you're very inspirational and enlightening individual, because you bring up a lot of points that help me look at a lot of other points, and that's true. That's a true team and partnership. When you can feed off whoever your partner is or your co-host, that's when you are evenly yoked. You know what I'm saying? Check it out. I have an uncle. Now, I was talking to him like two years ago or a year ago, and he shocked me too. He said, "Yeah, I voted for Trump last time." I'm like, "What?" Because at that time I'm still kind of in the bubble. You know what I mean? In the bubble. Day by day I get out of the bubble. You know what I mean? And I said, "Damn, you voted for Trump?" And he gave me an explanation, and it helped me realize. He said he voted for Trump because he won as a business owner, and he also has a home, so it helped him economically.
Yeah. Wow.
And so therefore, and you know what? This is, we got a lot of black people that are mad at shit. Even if they mad at 50 Cent, 50 Cent say he going for Trump. That man is looking out for his money. Okay. Aren't you looking out for your money?
Yeah.
You know what I
mean?
Yeah. See, I can't tell you how to spend your money, but don't want you to tell me how to spend my money.
Right.
If this man
for you, it was about like you have this whole medical issue that you're dealing with. So somebody can't say no, don't vote for Biden. How you gonna tell me not to vote for Biden when he's Biden with my life?
He's affecting my life. That's the objective of this podcast and this show right now today. We want you to know, do what you need to do for you specifically. Forget about what mama say, for real, to a certain extent. Forget about what daddy say, your brothers say, or your people's out there, or even what society tells you you're supposed to do, man. How does it affect you specifically? Like, for real, be real with yourself. Like Portia said, it's liberating. You know what I mean? It's very liberating to know, you know what? I did what's best for me. Yeah, you might have 100 people that hate the reason behind it, but so what? Okay? They don't have to live in, and you do.
Let me play devil's advocate, though.
Sure.
Okay, because here's what people are going to say in response to this video. Okay.
Sure.
So we're telling people, do what you do. There ain't no shame in voting for Trump, whatever. Especially
what you do.
Do what you do. They're going to say, okay, then how do you answer for the racism, the misogyny, the childish behavior? How do you answer for that stuff? Like, how do you despite what Trump does for your business, how do you vote for somebody like that to be in office again?
That's easy. That's very easy. Before Barack Obama, every other president you voted for, he did the same thing, but behind closed doors.
Okay, well, the end.
We talking about the Clintons, the Reagans. You understand? The both Bushes. Trump is just more blatant with his. And you want to know something? As far as I'm concerned, I like people that are blatant. I want to see exactly who and what I'm getting involved in. I'd rather know that you are full of shit than have to find out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what I say about that. The people that came before Barack Obama, they all had a little bit of Trump in them, just that you ain't see it. You know what? They were a little bit smarter than Trump. Trump just don't give it. He's not a politician.
He's not. So he doesn't have this.
He's not a politician. You know what it is? He's not a good liar like the other politicians.
He what?
He's not a good liar like the other politician, Barack Obama included.
Yes.
He's not a good liar like the other politicians. If he was a seasoned politician, we wouldn't know about none of the stuff that he did.
Right.
And he'll be the same person. So that's what I would say to them people. Like, yeah, okay. You mean to tell me the previous what is it? 43 presidents weren't racist? Get out of here, man. The first what was it? What they say? The first, was it 300? The first 300 appointed justices were slave owners in the Supreme Court. These are the people that were appointed to the Supreme Court. The first 300 were bona fide slave owners.
Are you serious?
So that's not that. You know what I mean? This racism is prevalent and is in full effect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Period.
we know it about our president or not. Right.
It's in full effect. And this is what else we don't do. We don't hold these people we vote for accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't hold them accountable. We can have a president, right? We can have a president that he does his thing. Well, let's say he doesn't hold up to policy in the first 4 years. We so ignorant, we'll go out here and vote for him again. Mm-hmm. He didn't hold up the policy during the first 4 years. I don't care who he is. I don't care if he's Biden, Barack, whoever. If he didn't hold a policy for the first 4 years, why would I be that naive to go out here and vote for him again and think that he's gonna hold up the policy for the next 4 years?
Right.
Why? Just because he's a Democrat? Give me a break. Give me a break on that label. It's a label that you have, that people don't know the history of the label. Read your history and you'll make better equipped decisions.
There you go.
Straight up and down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And we don't read enough. Like even me. Like, I mean, I've read some books in my time, sure. But to really get different views on certain things. You know what I mean? Because a lot of what we learn in the Black community is from word of mouth. You know what I mean? Right. Not a lot of us are reading books.
Listen to people that don't know what they're talking about.
Right. So it's a lot of just word of mouth information. And so we develop our opinions based on those discussions.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, you don't necessarily have to read just history books. They don't have to be just history. Yeah. They can even be fiction, because a lot of times these books are, all fiction books are based on some form of reality, but it opens your mind to different perspectives, different views that you previously didn't have. And then it starts to get your mind working and you start thinking, this is interesting. And then when you think, let me tell you. All right. So I think if I could think of one fiction book that really had an impact on my life, it was Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale.
Oh, my fault. You said Motivational Motives? Was that the book? I'm sorry.
Get out of here, yo.
I'm sorry.
Okay, no, let me keep
it. But I'm only playing. Go ahead.
Motivational Motives is impactful. I'm only playing. I know, but I do have to say this though. It is impactful, and some of the stories in Motivational Motives definitely changed how I view certain people. That's all.
I appreciate that. I really do, honestly.
But
were you honestly?
Okay, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale. Okay, so. Y'all should know that. They made a movie about it. Halle Berry was in the movie.
Really?
Yes, but I didn't watch the movie. I've never seen the movie. I just know she was in it. Halle Berry and what's that one dude? Oh, what is that guy's name? Michael Ealy? I think Michael Ealy was in it. You know who Michael Ealy is? Yeah, I don't know. He's the light-skinned brother with the light eyes.
I'm not, pop culture. I don't know. Like I said, I'm getting out of the bubble a little bit. Nah, I don't know.
Congratulations on being out in the bubble. Anyways, so that book is a fiction. It is a work of fiction. Okay. And I don't know if you would necessarily call it historical fiction either. Right. But maybe. I don't know. But that book had such an impact on me, and it really changed the way I deal with people.